Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Gina Marie Agderian. I am the author of The Faceless Woman and The Letters in the Old House, both available on Amazon in paperback and Kindle. I will have a link to purchase the books in the description below. So today is another episode of Book Talk. If you're new here, this is a series where I talk about a book that I recently read, what I liked, what I didn't like, and ultimately help you determine if you might like to read this book. So today I am talking about Fifth Avenue, 5 a.m. by Sam Wasson. And if you know me in real life, or if you follow me on social media, you will know that I am a huge Audrey Hepburn fan. I just think she was the classiest, most beautiful actress ever. I just think there's so much to love about her, and not just her class and her beauty, but her heart as well. She did a lot of charity work, a lot of work for UNICEF prior to it being trendy for celebrities to be involved with that sort of thing. And she was just an exceptional human being. So this is not necessarily a story about Audrey Hepburn. It's really a story about how the movie Breakfast at Tiffany's came to be. I am giving this book a 5 out of 5, not because I enjoyed the subject matter, but simply because it was just such a juicy read. It was so good. It is nonfiction, so I don't read a ton of nonfiction, admittedly. And if I do consume nonfiction, it's usually through audiobook. So this was a little bit new for me. My mom got this for me as a Christmas present, which was really fun. And I learned recently that they are making this book into a movie. So I'm really excited to see that. But this, if you are a fan of Breakfast at Tiffany's, if you're a fan of old Hollywood, or if you like the gossip of old Hollywood, or just movies in general, if you enjoy learning about how movies are made or how old movies were made, this is absolutely a book that you'll want to read. It was a very easy read, and it almost reads not super gossipy, but more like you're getting the inside scoop on how the movie was made. And I'm not going to spoil anything, but there were a lot of little details and tidbits that, as big of a fan as I am of this movie, I did not know. I will say that Truman Capote, who wrote the book Breakfast at Tiffany's, which I did read, and I thought that the movie was better than the book, one of those few instances. But Truman Capote is quite an interesting character, so when you read this, you will understand what I mean. It does talk a little bit about the character of Holly Golightly. So I know a lot of women today see this character as a fashion inspiration and, just kind of an aesthetic inspiration, which is all completely valid and true. But the character of Holly Golightly, she, in the book, which I read, she was supposed to be a sex worker, and that it was a little bit of a dirtier book than it was of a movie. At the time, movies were highly censored by the powers that be, so you didn't necessarily always get the movie exactly true to the book. So the character of Holly Golightly was changed a bit to accommodate the standards of the time of movies, and of course, having Audrey Hepburn, who was the quintessential Hollywood good girl. She played all of these very beautiful roles, and then having her play the part of a party girl or a sex worker was quite different, especially for her. And she did have, it was quite challenging for her to film this movie and to take this part. And it was a really big career risk for her as well. So the book goes into all of that. It also talks a little bit about how the character of Holly Golightly was very different than a different character than what women were being sold back in 1961 and back in the 50s and early 60s. So women back then, of course, were highly encouraged slash ordered to get married, have children, and that was it. Like, your goal in life is to find a husband and just and live your life as a married woman and as a mother. And while there's absolutely nothing wrong with that at all, I myself am married. The character of Holly Golightly is actually out having a good time and not necessarily worried about being tied down to anything. And that was quite a novel and different concept of women in the media at the time. The author does try to tie this character a lot to the women's liberation movement. I don't necessarily totally buy into that. I do think that this character was a pivotal point in seeing different types of women in movies with different goals other than getting married and having children. So while this character definitely plays a part in that happening back then, I don't necessarily buy into this being such a pivotal turning point in the women's liberation movement. It didn't, I think he kind of sensationalized it a little bit, but I'm still giving it a 5 out of 5 because this book was just so interesting. I think I read this in like 2 days. I couldn't put it down and I absolutely loved it. And if you love old Hollywood, if you love reading, all of the gossip and the insider scoop on what happened behind the scenes of this movie. If you're a fan of the movie, if you're a fan of Audrey Hepburn, if you're a fan of Truman Capote, read this. It's a great book, and like I said, it will be turned into a movie soon, so you can compare the movie and the book. So 5 Avenue, 5 a.m. by Sam Wasson. Let me know in the comments if you've read this book or if you plan to read this book. And as always, guys, happy reading.